Hey guys, it's Jonathan here from NidoLabz. Which I just want to quickly say that previously our website was called Rocket Science Productions, but we've changed that to NidoLabz Incorporation, and so we're working on the website. So I guess in my next episode I'll have that URL there because we're still working on it. But I just want to say that we changed it up. But anyway, so this episode I'm doing is I'm doing it about variables, and I'm gonna try to shorten the video down as much as I can because I want a lot of information to be in it, but I can't have much because there's so much you can go into variables. I could have literally 20 or more videos of just straight out there variables. But if you guys don't know, like in programming variables, they hold values, which is just like from math class, like in algebra and stuff, or pre-algebra. Like you have like x plus y, and x is 2 and y is 1,000. Your answer is 1,002. Those are variables. But and same thing goes with programming. Like you'd set a variable with a name to equal to something, whatever you want, numbers and stuff, and or even some cases different things. And the thing, like you can use that many things for every programming language contains variables. Every code you'll ever see, with pretty much anything that's not the most basic thing possible, which is displaying text. So pretty much every code you see will have variables in it. And I guess if you're to think about it, if you're making a game, you have like HP for your character, or like your strength and stuff. That'll all be put in variables, and you can also use that for like a calculator because you need variables to store the numbers from the character input, which I'll get into probably next episode. But anyway, so and there are different variable types. There are actually many. I don't know all of them. But the main ones are integer, which is any whole number, float, and a float is within a certain range. It's the 8-bit thing. I think it goes up to like 256. I'm not sure. And it goes to like negative 256 to positive 256. I think that's what it is. I could be different, but I know it has a range, and it's from negative to positive, and it's everything in between. It's not just whole numbers. It's decimals and all that stuff. So you have like negative 0.37 if you want. And that's what, the only time you'll use floats instead of integers is if you're doing things with decimals, because integers can also have negative values, but integers are infinite expanding. But float is within a range. And then there are doubles, which doubles are the same exact thing as floats, but it's doubled. So it's, I think, 16-bit, but it could be like 64-bit, I'm not sure. Because, you know, like the power of whatever. So the double is just a much wider range, but you'll be using floats much more on doubles because doubles use up more memory and space. Next we have bool, like bool, B-O-O-L. So you have integer, float, double, oops, whatever. And now we have bool. So B-O-O-L. And bools is short for boolean, which can either be true or false. So if you're doing something that's pretty much just two possible ways, true or false, you'd use booleans. And those take up, because you could just use an integer and use like 0 and 1, but booleans take up much less data in memory. So if you were to do something like that, you definitely want to use booleans. And we have char, spelled C-H-A-R. And char is just a single character, just one single character. And that can be on the strings, which is such a wide topic. But strings are pretty much like data of like full text. Like if you were to have like a full stream of text, you'd store that in a string. You could store that on chars with different ways doing that, but I won't get into that much right now. But and also I want to say about variables, they can be both signed or unsigned. But when you first declare a variable, it is already signed. And a signed could be negative or positive, okay? So when I create like my integer and I set it like happy, it could be equal to -4. And as you see, we have no arrows. Wait, one again. Oh, okay. And no reason saying warning, so I haven't actually used it. Or I can set it to +4. And see, we still have no errors. But if you didn't want to do that, and the only time you'd ever not want to do that is because things like floats and doubles, they have limits on them. And the only reason there's limit is because, like, well, you have both negative and positive. So I'm just going to use, and this isn't true, but say for floats, you go from your range from -10 to 10. Okay, so if you have a float and it's called happy, it could be -0.37 or yeah, or it could be -10. But if it's -11, it won't work. It just won't. Or that's in my little imaginary term that I just made up. But if you wanted to have it to where it can go up to 20, so double it, you would do unsigned, and that's just how you make an unsigned thing. You do unsigned, then float, happy, and you can set that equal to whatever the double of the original amount is, because you're not using negatives. Like the range isn't negatives anymore. Why is it telling me there's? Oh, okay. It's just because I didn't like fully load it. It's okay. It's not actually. Oh no. What's going on? Huh. Whatever. I'm not sure what's causing that. I'll need to look into that. Sorry, I'll tell you guys about that next episode. But probably just my compiler. Stupid issues with compilers. But yeah, so signed and unsigned. If it's unsigned, range is doubled. You can't use negatives. And if you didn't understand from that little part, to have a full variable, let's just say we're using int, you have to have the variable type, the variable name, and you can end it right there. And here's how we'll get into having variables. Alright, so you have a variable name, and you can leave it like that. And if you want to give a variable a say if it's int number, you can first have like int happy, and you can set happy to equal to 13 or 14, and have your semicolon there, and that'll work fine. Or you can just set int happy equal to 14 semicolon, and that's just the two different ways you can declare a variable. I like it like this better. It's just a little bit cleaner. It uses up like less space. But you can have it either way you want, whatever suits you best. But yeah, so you have your int type, your variable type, variable name, and variable data. Variables, like when you have your name, it cannot start with a number. That'll glitch it out. And it cannot have any special symbol like $sign or period. The only special symbol that it can have is a underscore. That's the only time a special symbol will work, is if you're using underscore. And like I said with numbers, if you have like that and you have a number there and like a number there, that'll all work fine. You just can't have numbers in the first thing, and you can't use you can't name it anything that C++ has already defined. Like here I have namespace. I can't have int namespace. That'll not work. So that's just along with naming variables. But so now I'll get into how like you can use the variables. I'll just add two together. So alright, so I'm gonna use an integer and a float. So I'm gonna have int, and I'll just call it number one. And I'm just gonna declare right here. I'll set it equal to 3. And then I'll have a float number 2 to equal to 4.7. And I forgot to mention, if you have an integer, like I said, it's just whole numbers. If you were to have a decimal, it would just round it. I don't think it'll round it up, but it might. Let me actually try that out. So if it does round it up, like it'll either round it to the closest thing or it'll round it just down. So if it rounds it just down, this should end up being 7.7. But if it rounded to the closest thing, it should end up being 8.7. So we'll see how that works. All right, so I have my two things declared, and there are two ways to simply add up things. I'll say this is one way to do it. So you have your C out, and immediately right here we can do number 1 plus number 2. And I'm not sure if I mentioned in the last thing. I said that like when you go on to NidoLabz, you do the \n, but not all OSs use that. So like using end L for end line is the best way to do it, and it's best to do that after every single thing of C out. It just makes it kind of helps the compiler out with memory leaks. But so you do it like this, and anytime you like in between these little things for C out, if it's not in quotes, it'll think it's a variable. So you can do stuff like that. You can also do cout listen, and we can do result, and we'll do that. And I'll get a variable, I'll get an error because I don't know what no result is. So down here, we'll have an int called, or actually float, so it'll be decimal, float called result, which is equal to number 1, or number 2, plus number 1. So we're creating a variable called result, and it's already equal to this. So right now this is just saying result. So if you play this, I should either get 2 things of 8.7 or 2 things of 7.7. So let's see how that works. I'm not actually sure. So I'm kind of. Okay, 7.7. So no matter if the integer is a whole number, or an integer, like because it's supposed to be whole numbers, if you have a decimal, you always round it down. And you could do this with integers. Like you don't have to have an int and a float. You can do it whatever you want. And let me just kind of show you how booleans work. A boolean. Let me get rid of all this. Boolean, just go bool equal to true, or you can set equal to false. That's just how. Well, yeah, you get the idea. But yeah, that's how booleans work. And I think that's all I'm gonna show today. But yeah, variables and things are so wide and so broad. I would definitely not be able to explain it even within maybe an hour-long video. But I was all we gonna say for variables now. I think next episode I'm gonna get into character input, like the cin functions. So that way if someone was using your program, they could type in like their own thing. Like if they were to say like, what do you want for the first number? And you type in 7, it'll use that as the first number. Because you might be thinking like, okay, so if I'm using a calculator and I'm declaring like an int first number, they're saying equal to 3. Well, it's already set to 3. How is that going to help? It's not going to actually do anything because they can't control what's going on. So I'll get into how they can do that next episode. But yeah, thanks for watching and bye.